Alright, namaste. This is going to be my own New Year intention read, and just wanted to see what can be my New Year resolution coming up, if not for the entire year, then at least to kick off and start off this beautiful, beautiful new year. And of course, my commitment to awareness practice and commitment to spirituality remains the same. I've had sort of experiential proof in seeing that you are what you practice. So I could really say that from my own experience, I see a huge difference in my own life in terms of when I practice and when I don't. So that is a constant for me, no matter what the cards say. But if there's anything else, or if spiritual work is to be highlighted, then I'm asking guides and angels to come forth to please highlight it for me and point me to where my next intention might be. So this is my New Year's resolution, according to Spirit, according to my guides and angels. My New Year resolution. What can I look forward to? The teacher. Becoming the Hierophant, perhaps? We'll see. Alright, let's get to it. So, New Year intentions, please, guides and angels. New Year intentions for this upcoming period. So let's set that aside. All right, so first card for our New Year intention, or my New Year intention, is Five of Water. And I have to say, this really is in resonance with a video that I did for myself only a couple of days ago, in terms of what my focus is for the next month or so, and what my new focus would be in this next period. And this was the ending card. And I remember the top card, the first row, or the last card on the first row, was the Wheel of Fortune. So it was, or it progressed from the first card, Death, to the Wheel of Fortune. So there really is a sense of the old dying, the old way of doing things, the old chapter closing, and a new timing coming forward, a new time-space alignment coming forward, the changing of the seasons, the changing of the times. And then the progression card below the Wheel of Fortune and the clarification card was the Five of Water. So there was still a sense of needing to process the experiences that I've gone through, especially as we're still going through this last bit of winter. That's still what I'm going to do. That hasn't changed, obviously, where I'm still going to be processing a lot of the grief, the sadness that's just there, and processing past mistakes. You know, the grief and sadness isn't just about, oh, what other people did to me, or the betrayals, the heartbreaks that I've gone through. No, it's also what I've done unto others. you can't have one force without a counter force. So it's both ways. And I find myself just in that state of reflection. So this does describe where I am right now and where I might be for a little bit, even as we move into the year, maybe not coming out as soon as the start of spring, which technically with Chinese New Year, it's already the start of a young budding spring, but still, in terms of my mental landscape, I'm still in barren land. I'm still on a hiatus. I'm still not at a point where I'm ready to go, I'm ready to fire up, I'm ready to make things happen. Not at all. I'm still processing. And processing in a very passive way. Just sitting and staring into emptiness. And sometimes literally, not gonna hide it, sometimes really literally staring into emptiness and not knowing what that next step is going to be, but also not being in denial anymore, just allowing the debris, allowing the muck to surface and then perhaps settle down again as we move forward. But in either case, it's processing grief. It's processing unpleasantries and processing the past, but looking towards the future. I mean, we do that precisely because we want to move forward. So let's progress and see what comes next. 6 of Air, moving to greener pastures, moving towards better support. So especially in the Gaian deck, it is moving towards communal support, community support. So opening our soul, opening our hearts to receive support from the seen and the unseen, just opening ourselves up to help, to guidance, and looking forward to a better future while surrounded by our soulmates, surrounded by our soul family, soul communities, whoever that may be. And to be able to progress from 5 of Water to the 6 of Air is tremendously healing. So that tells me that all the time spent on staring into the void and just being in emptiness is not without results, is not, what is that phrase? It's not a not. It is so that when the time comes for us to look forward to a better future, a better community, when the timing comes for us to receive a new dawn in our lives, we're ready, and we're ready. And so this really corresponds to the Wheel of Fortune that I got for my other read, which has to do with my focus for the next couple of months. It's to really allowing myself to digest the emotions, or no, it's not like I'm digesting it. It's allowing the emotions to be digested so that it becomes fertilizer. It becomes nourishment for what comes next, for me to allow this new ground, new chapter to appear, and for me especially, for this new soul family to appear, so that I don't feel like, oh, I'm the only one who's doing this, I'm the only one who cares, I'm the only one who really wants the best for humanity. No, there's so many of us out there who really, really, really do care. You know, not only the empaths, not only the light workers, a lot of us, doesn't matter what labels we give ourselves, a lot of us really, really care. And so it's almost like I need to process what was stuck in my psyche that was preventing me from really connecting to these communities, so that I could allow them to just appear around me when the time comes. Or that, better yet, it's more like I would recognize them. I would be open to them when they start appearing next to me, right and left. So that's beautiful, and let's progress. Justice. So with this card, because this is the Gaian deck, there is a sense for sustainability justice, natural justice, where we're following the natural flow, the natural law. Natural law sounds a little too like martial law, like a little too rigid, but it's just looking forward to follow the natural heart, you know, doing things in a way where my heart would weigh as light as a feather. That's what it means in the Gaian deck. That's what justice means in the Gaian deck. Are we doing things in alignment with nature? Are we doing things in alignment with Gaia? And are we choosing the path where our hearts would be as light as a feather, where our hearts would weigh as light as a feather? Because when that happens, we know we're doing things the right way. Right meaning the natural way. We know we're doing things within natural flow when that happens. And when the heart is heavy, we know that we're not following the natural way, the natural flow. And I don't mean they're easy things. Sometimes what we need to do are difficult, but our hearts would be light if we go towards natural flow. It could be a difficult decision, but in the end, whatever path, decision, choice that allows our hearts to soar, that allows our heart to float, be as light as a feather, is the way. So that is kind of my New Year intention as well, to really, as I move towards this new horizon, as I move away from the past and from the heaviness, right? It's perfect where the heaviness of the past is now gone, and now we're looking towards doing things in a way, and also aligning myself to things that are truly lighthearted. We never think that, oh, what makes us lighthearted, what makes us laugh, what makes us sing, what makes us dance, and what makes us ecstatic, what makes us be in joy, would be the right thing, would be the equitable thing to do, would be the responsible thing to do in this world. We don't, for some reason, we don't equate those two. But they are equatable. Because when we are in alignment with the natural flow, when we take things lightly, when our actions and our practices and our daily affairs and our intentions behind our daily affairs are aligned with that lightheartedness, are aligned with a light heart instead of a heavy heart, we are doing the earth justice. We are doing Mother Gaia justice, because then we won't be turning to addictions to soothe what would be heavy-hearted. That's the ailment of our modern society, is that when we do everything with a heavy heart, with a heavy responsibility, and we forget joy, we forget lightheartedness, we forget the natural flow, we forget rest, we turn to addictions to somehow compensate for it, even though it doesn't really balance out that imbalance. It just pushes us more and more into despair. But we're led to believe by a lot of big corporations that the way to alleviate and ameliorate this condition is to add more stuff, is to apply a product to get to the solution, to alleviate the pain, to alleviate that sense of heaviness. And that's not, that's not it. And I'm not saying it's all of corporations' fault. This is also just how the human mind works. The conditioned structure, the fight, flight, freeze, and the ego structure just loves to use guilt and shame, just loves to use the heavy-heartedness so that we're not floating in a natural flow, so that we forget that we can actually fly. We're like birds that are sitting on the waves of the ocean. And when a rainstorm comes, we struggle. We struggle on the huge, gigantic waves on the ocean. And we forget that we have wings and we can flap our wings and fly. That's ego. We would rather know that we would drown than try flapping our wings and fly away. That is the conditioned mind. To be trapped in what's known, then experiment what is unknown. So going back to the natural way, doing things that are truly lighthearted, that is what's important to have as my own intention this year. And if you like to make this your intention as well, of course you're welcome, but I'm sort of doing this as my own blog to set my intention for this year, to really be open to camaraderie, to be healed within my heart, so that I can soar, so that I can flap my wings as well. I want to also do as what I say. It's like I'm definitely not a perfect person, and I'm still and also a practitioner, and a forever practitioner. The journey doesn't end. And you know what they say, perfect teachings can come from imperfect teachers. Someone who comes to mind is like Osho or Alan Watts. If you look at their personal histories, you would balk. you know, in terms of morality and being ethical, I don't think, we would want our kids to model after them. But goodness, the Tao that's been spoken from their mouths are just so amazing, so crazy amazing. It brings me to another level. But would I want my kids to emulate them? Would I want our next generation to emulate those two men? Sorry, I don't think so. So I'm not saying I'm like those men, but it's just like I'm also learning from what I say, from my own inner intuition. I'm still learning to practice what I say. And I've seen that it's okay to do that, to know that I have something to offer, and I'm also practicing that same things for myself as well. And I am not the perfect practitioner at all, and yet I do have a lot to offer. And so the intention is to practice, to go towards that lightheartedness, to go towards that natural flow. When the fork appears, when the choices appear, when the options appear, and I get to choose. Sometimes the fight, flight, freeze kicks in so fast, the conditioning kicks in so fast, that we don't even see that we have the choice. So that's why I say my practice remains, awareness practice remains, where, it remains my forever intention to actually see what I'm doing without judgment, of course, but to actually be able to see, okay, right now I am choosing lightheartedness and joy and laughter. And right now, ego conditioning is telling me that my situation is not good, is effed up, I've hit snafu, and my life is over, and there's nothing else to look forward to, and that's it. And my practice is to also want to be present to that, to not judge it, but to be present when something like that happens and I'm starting to go towards a heavy heart. That is still very much my intention, to be able to discern for myself, when am I coming into a situation with a heavy heart, and when am I approaching it with lightness and joy. And that's awareness practice. So hopefully to move towards better mastery, towards natural law, moving towards the mastery of truly knowing thyself, knowing myself, and seeing myself. To be aware of awareness as much as possible, to be in the present moment, to be flowing in the infinite possibilities of the present moment, to be in the now as much as possible, because that's where the heart is the lightest. We could be completely bogged down with a cold and be sniffing away with huge headaches and needing bed rest. Maybe with like a high fever, and be in a sort of a dehydrated, delusional state of mind, and still be in the present moment. and still see that it is okay and still be lighthearted and thank the universe, thank the gods for having a warm bed, for being able to perhaps call into the office and say, I can't come in today, or perhaps just take the day off somehow, or, you know, perhaps even having a break room to go to for a quick nap, or having the right medicine to take to be able to get through a day. Whatever it is, being in the now, in the possibility, and in the right selection within that instantaneous flow to make that right decision in that particular moment would be the lighthearted, would be the decision that goes with natural flow. So absolutely, that is my intention, my continuing intention from last year and carrying over to this year. So let's progress to the final card for this year's intention, 3 of Water. I really could not have asked for better. This corresponds to the 6 of Air, where just celebration, you know, celebration with friends, celebration with community, being open, being lighthearted, being joyous, being celebratory. You know, it's a huge juxtaposition from the 5 of Water, where we're still processing the past and we're still drudging the muck up and waiting for all that, whatchamacallit, dust to settle. And here we are in full celebration mode with so much hope for the future. I also drew the 3 of Water for the Western New Year's read. It wasn't a read, it was just a little Instagram post, a quick Instagram Happy New Year post, where I drew the star and the 3 of Water, where we're celebrating with friends and family, with loved ones, with so much hope. So this is giving me the same feel, where my intention really is to be celebratory. It's been a tough 2 years, 3 years for all of us. And, you know, for me, it's been a tough 5 or 7 years, where I went from completely feeling like I know who I am, I know how I would like to serve in this world, professionally, and relationally, socially, who I am, and how would I contribute, and how I would participate in this world. I went from having a solid idea to everything being deconstructed. Not overnight, but little by little by little by little, where the carpet under my feet wasn't just pulled away under me fast. It got pulled away a little bit, and then the weave started to fray, and then the yarn or the threads started to fray, to come apart slowly, agonizingly over the last 5 years for me. And you know, it was kind of still ongoing, though it feels like I'm heading towards something newer. Absolutely, something newer. But this year marks the year where I could start to receive that new perspective, that new life, a new label, if we must go to the surface level, a new outlook for the world, a new label for the world to identify who I am socially and professionally. So to me, this is huge. The celebration is huge. So not only celebrating with others, not only celebrating with my soul family, and doesn't even have to be my soul family, my friends and family, whatever, you know, celebratory events that come up, my intention is just to be all for it. Of course, in alignment with lightheartedness, in alignment with the natural flow, in alignment with awareness practice. If the circumstances arise and the timing is right there, it's all about celebrations. And this certainly feels like sort of a spiritual coming out for me as well, where I can't hide this evolutionary process for me anymore, where I could have easily identified myself as a professional before, you know, just like a 9 to 5, a very technical and yet very skillful professional. But now that label just does not resonate anymore and seems, I wouldn't say it seems empty. I'm still very proud of it. I'm still, I think I'm still able to wear that label very well, given the work, given the professional arena. I can still present myself very well in that respect. But for me to really wholeheartedly resonate with that label, that time has passed. That time has passed, and I can no longer fully resonate with that label. And I can no longer say that I can schlep on that label without feeling a heavy heart. Or to say in an opposite way, it's I moved on to something where I feel more fulfilled in my heart, where I feel like it's more of my next step in life, my next big experiment in life. You know, where I've already proven that I could be a well-rounded professional in this certain professional area. And now it's the new horizon is that I could be a wholehearted being, a wholehearted person doing what I love most at this juncture, of course. You know, I would be lying if I said that, okay, this is what I've been always wanting to do but never did. No. My past profession was something that I've always wanted to do, and I did it. And now the time space has shifted in a way where it's like my outer purpose has shifted. And it's not denouncing what I was and how I served the world before. Not at all. It's just a shift towards something else. So coming back to the intention for the year, and I think this is beautiful, this is perfect in terms of the intention that I want to set during this new year, for the rest of the year, is to always come back to center, to continue to move forward towards this new horizon, this new way of doing things, where I would weigh my heart against a feather first before I make a decision, or before I communicate, or before I take that action or display that behavior. That would be my practice, to go towards the natural flow and to celebrate. You know, as my South Node is Capricorn in the 5th house, a lot of the natural celebratory expressions were kind of suppressed naturally because of karma, or because of early childhood learning, you know, however you want to put it. There was sort of an internal restriction towards celebratory expressions and notions within my field of behaviors and emotions and understandings. You know, celebrations just has never come easily for me, or it's never come naturally for me. Like, I would understand celebrations, but for me to move towards it automatically, the conditioning simply does not do that. The South Node in Capricorn 5th house naturally does not guide me that way. So I'm definitely walking towards the North Node in Cancer in the 11th house. And it's so nicely summed up by the 3 of Water, where Cancer, ruled by the moon, is all about feelings and water and sharing and celebrating each other. You know, celebrating each other, really. Like, you know, as much as I complain that I don't even remember what it feels like to be hugged anymore, the truth is, I bet others are feeling the same. And, you know, as much as sort of the conditioning pushes me towards the victim mentality, I know in my inner knowing that what I truly long for is to be the supporter, is to be the inspiration, the encourager, the supporter for others as well. You know, it's still kind of hard for us to have that direct physical contact without having fear arise. You know, we're still in winter. COVID, Omicron is still kind of in the back of our minds, even though Denmark and Scandinavia has a different way of doing things and they're back to normal. But for me, I would want to really give as much as I can. And as much as I want to receive, I also want to give and try my hand at a solution. When, you know, that direct touch is a little harder at the moment. So can we touch each other in our hearts? Can we touch each other through our mutual celebrations? That would be something that I would be so open to experimenting, and I intend to experiment for the coming year. So again, I'm loving this progression, like from feeling like it's all winter, you know, the Capricorn who is able to bear through the winter and to just chew on branches for survival. The lone goat chewing on branches for survival in the snow on the top of the mountain. Walking through the snow, needing to get past this mountain to get to the pastures. The lone goat finally progressing through to the healing of the water and the healing energies of a community with the North Node in Cancer and the 11th house community. And you know, I'm not gonna lie and color this with describe this with a rose colored lens. It is gonna be a practice for me, you know, sort of switching from the austerity and the seriousness of the Capricorn South Node to the loving-heartedness and warm-heartedness of Cancer North Node in the 11th house. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a process for me. And I'm bringing this up hopefully also as an inspiration for others to also see, you know, we're everything is a journey, a process. Why are we expecting ourselves to go from 0 to 100 right away? We move forward step by step gradually, and we change that behavior gradually by first practicing being conscious of our conditioning, you know, that base conditioning, karmic conditioning that we naturally carry to this world, to be conscious of it. And the only way, I've said it so many times in my other videos, the only way to be conscious of it really is to bring radical self-compassion, where we do not judge what we see in compassionate awareness. We see that judgment, we say thank you and drop it, because then that trains us to be able to see more. That trains us that it's okay to see something. You know, karmic conditioning is not our fault. And that will give us that encouragement to keep seeing more, so that we have the basis to make a choice the next time we see ourselves doing the same thing, or choosing the karmic fight, flight, freeze, South Node thing, or choosing austerity, seriousness over healing. And sometimes we need to be with our South Nodes. I'm not saying, you know, we should reject it. No. As you know, I've seen from my previous reading, now bridging to this reading, the time that I spent on reshifting my focus, transitioning from the Death card to the Five of Water, and needing to be in that meditative austerity, that was necessary. That was the fire I had to walk through. even for 5 years, 7 years. That's okay. To be in that south node for so long. That's okay, right? That's all right. Just because that Saturn and Pluto are just so activated for the last couple of years, for me to be in it, that's fine. It's just as we're moving out of it, as we see that light, as we see that train pulling in finally to leave the station, now we start to see, okay, is conditioning there to make sure that I stay in the heavy heart, that I stay in reflective mode, that I stay in winter, let's put it that way, in symbolic terms, or do I go to spring? Do I go to summer? This feels very summery to me. Or do I finally move towards summer when that time is ripe? And to not blame myself for having conditioned reactions to want to stay in the snow. And to say, okay, I see that inclination, excuse me, and now I want to move towards something that is a lot more lively. And that I'm not alone. The Six of Air, I'm not alone. People are with me. And that I get to celebrate with them. I get to celebrate with them. Enjoying the summer breeze. And enjoying each other's company. Enjoying our individualities. Without sacrificing who we are. We're not denying that this is also who we are. But we're able to celebrate each other and bring each other healing energies. So, in terms of intention setting, this is a beautiful, beautiful progression. Again, from winter going into spring and summer, leaving the austerity behind, leaving the past behind, and going towards lightheartedness, going towards the natural way. And to practice remembering that when we laugh, when we're in joy, that's better for the energy of Earth as well. That's better for nature as well when we are in joyful vibration. That is a part of positive ecology, because we are also energetics. And nature is one with us in terms of energetics. So when we are vibing high, nature also, our environment also vibes high with us. And so keep practicing joy. Keep practicing joy and celebration. So that really, in a nutshell, is just practicing. My intention is to keep practicing joy and celebration as the natural flow, practicing joy and celebration as the natural flow, and practicing joy and celebration with my kindred community, or practicing joy and celebration with like-minded folks, with soulmates all around me, with our communities, with my community, for a gentler connection with Gaia, for a better connection with nature as a natural flow. So I know that was kind of long-winded, but I'm just so excited to get this spread, and I'm so excited to have my guides and angels sort of give me this mission or clarify this intention for me, and I really, really look forward to the progression of this year. And I know for a lot of us already, just within my friend group, I know we're just so eager to move forward and celebrate. So, you know, even without knowing what's gonna happen, I know we're all itching to come together and figure something out. You know, we know the past is past. What worked before cannot be anymore, but you know, we'll figure something out. So thank you so much, guides and angels, for this inspiration, for this encouragement, for this empowering and loving read, and for these amazing, just uplifting messages. So thank you all. Namaste.